Chag Sameach, everybody. It's Sukkot. This is like every time for me, like Sukkot is like a thing where like this talk comes up and I transport to Israel. Like this, it's like this feeling, palm trees, whatever. I don't know what it is. I'm gonna ask you guys a question. When you, let's say you're watching like Food Network or Travel Channel or whatever, and there's a guy over there talking about wine, and he's talking about wine from like Italy, Argentina, France, Spain, whatever. What do you guys? What feeling does that evoke? What do you guys think about? What does it convey to you? Does anybody want to chime
Culture.
in? Was it culture?
Yeah.
Anybody else?
History.
Okay. Anything specific history?
Because there's a really long tradition of winemaking, like in various countries. So it's like it's really embedded into a lot of cultures.
Anything else? Grant? Any other like concept, topic? Nobody? Art, okay.
Some food looks like really delicious.
So it's good you said that word, because so most of the countries that produce wine, France, Italy, Spain, Argentina, now we have Australia, New Zealand, etc. If you talk to anybody that produces wine in these countries, it's they're doing it for connoisseurism. They're doing it for what's called Epicurean lifestyle. Epicurean, it's the food and the beauty and all these other things. The Jewish people, if you go to Israel, the Jewish people, we're the only people, aside from all those wonderful things that those guys are doing the wine for, with us it's transcending connoisseurism. It's something spiritual, it's something deep, it's something that's embedded in our fabric of our very spiritual DNA. We cannot have a culture or religion without wine. If you're talking about Purim, Passover, Brit Milah, bris, circumcision, any holiday like Sukkot, Shabbat, Havdalah, Kiddush, you just go down the line. We pretty much can't have a culture, a religion, without wine. Why is that the case? Wine has holy properties. If you guys know, like there's, for example, for food there's blessings. You say, for fruit you can say Borei Pri Ha'etz. For liquid, you say like Shrakol Ni'evet Varo. That's the end of the bracha. With wine, it's the only fruit where you have a grape. Let's say the grape, you would say eitz, but when it turns into a liquid, it's not Shrakol anymore. It's Borei Pri Hagafen. And if you actually, guys, if you do the what's called the gematria, the numerical value of the word yayin, is of the letters that comprise the word yayin for wine, it's exactly the same as the letters of the word sod, which means secret. So you guys probably heard the phrase like in wine, in goes the wine, secrets come out. It's not it's actually a Jewish concept. In vino veritas, you heard it in Latin. That's actually a Jewish concept. So that's us. That's our kind of culture. What I do with my business is called West Bank Wines. So there's about 13 wineries from the region in Israel called Judea and Samaria. So I'm going to ask you guys another question. What is the mark, if you go around the world to, let's say, a place like Brazil, like the Amazon, if you go to Australia, if you go to Africa, China, any place which has like indigenous populations, not the people who live there now, whatever, the white man or people, colonials who invaded, but the original people who live there. What is the mark of, if anybody can tell me, of indigeneity of those people? What is the characteristics that they have that makes them indigenous to this place? If anybody wants to chime in. You guys learned anthropology, biology, history, archaeology.
Not nice.
Science fiction. Nobody?
They know the land better than the new people.
Keep going.
You know the herbs, the wildlife.
Go deeper.
What's the exact question again?
How do you know these people are indigenous to the particular land that they inhabit?
You must know some culture.
Or their traditions are related to the things that are in the land itself.
Okay, so
I was gonna say probably their genetics, because if they all have similar genetics and they reproduce, they're all gonna reproduce in the same area. So it's all
that
gonna
is
be
true, but I was going more for this, and I'll tell you why for Michael's answer. Because if you go to any of these peoples of these lands and you talk to them, they have a story for every single rock, tree, and bush and lake and river, and they've been telling those stories for thousands of years. The key is also, it actually doesn't even matter if the stories are true. All that matters is that they've been telling those stories for thousands of years. So if somebody comes to you and tells you, hey, you don't belong in the land of Israel, you're an imposter, and you tell them, listen, well, I have the Torah that tells me I do, and they say, well, this Torah is, according to them, it's fables and da-da-da-da. It actually doesn't even matter that it is a fable. It's not a fable. But even if it were a fable, it wouldn't even matter, because we've been telling that fable for about 3,300 years, maybe give or take, 100 years here and there. Each of these brands corresponds to a story from the Torah. It's actually produced in a city or a place that corresponds to each of the stories. So for one, the winemaker, actually, his name is Shivi Dror. He's a professor at Ariel University. It's a university that just got university status from the government of Israel, maybe 3 or 4 years ago. He found the first indigenous grapes in 2,000 years. Yeah, this is not the thing, but this is the guy who makes this.
The guy who makes
yeah.
it. Okay.
This is stuff that he makes from 2 white grapes. I'm not sure. I think it's Chardonnay. Yeah, Chardonnay, the Gewürztraminer. So it's dry white wine. But basically, Israel is going to have the first indigenous grapes in 2,000 years, since pretty much the times of the temple. We were a very prolific at one point winemaking country, winemaking during the times of the kingdom, winemaking land. We got kicked out of the land. People invaded. The Ottomans, the Turks, the Romans, whoever, Muslims kicked. They ripped things out of the ground because they don't drink. That's their religion. We came back and we just started planting. And things started growing. All the people were there. They tried. Didn't work for them. Worked for us. Whatever. That's a whole other conversation. We have the blessing. Then you have a wine called. It's actually from a place called Hevron. I don't know if some of you guys have been on the raids trip. They took you to Hevron.
Yeah.
So that's where our patriarchs and matriarchs are buried. Abraham, Yitzhak, Yaakov. The only one that's not
Adam and Eve, maybe, right?
Adam and Chava. That's kind of like something that goes in the allegorical stories. Even Esau's head actually is supposedly there. Also, we share a patriarch with our cousins, the Arabs, Abraham, and also Ishmael is buried there as well on the other side of the kever. So this wine is made by a French Jew who moved to Israel some years ago. He was involved in advertising, and he just said, listen, you know what? I'm moving to Israel. I'm going to start making wine. And if you guys read on the top of the bottle, he wrote in Rashi script, in French script, Zecher l'Tziat Mitzrayim. It's actually the phrase that we say, I think it's 2 times a day, every single day, 3 times a day, 2 times a day. It's probably the most famous and said over and over ad nauseum phrase in Judaism. Remember the Exodus from Egypt. So he put this on the top of the bottle. That's just for his own thing and for the culture. This bottle is from a place called Beit. If you guys read, which part is it? Don't remember.
That's my wife.
the portion of the Torah that talks about Yaakov fleeing from Esau, from his brother Esau, and he stays in a place called Beit. By the way, these places are all. So this place actually is 30 minutes south of Jerusalem. This place is 20 minutes north of Jerusalem. The guy who makes this wine, he actually was trained in UC Davis. It's actually one of the bigger viticulture, universities in America. He met Aliyah, again, 20 years ago, met his wife, whose family's from Syrian, Israeli, whatever, and now they just make wine. Yeah, they started out, if you go to their winery, actually, they grow all kinds of herbs around the vineyard. So it's just rosemary, thyme, it just, anything you have in your cabinet, they grow it. And if you taste the wine, you'll feel hints of these little things in there. The next wine is something from a place called Shiloh. Shiloh, before we had Jerusalem, for 369 years, the Jewish people, the capital of the Jewish people, was a place called Shiloh. It's 30 minutes north of Jerusalem. And basically, instead of we didn't have a temple, so right now we're in the Sukkot, and it's actually, if you guys ask the Christians, they call this the Feast of Tabernacles. So this Sukkot that you guys are in, it's actually meant to simulate the portable Mishkan, the portable tabernacle that we had at this time. So basically, Shiloh's from that place. Excuse me. The guy who makes this wine, he's a chef. He just 15 years ago decided to play around with grapes in his house, and now he produces not this particular bottle, even though this is good. He produces the top Cabernet in the entirety of Israel. They have a competition every year called Terravino, and he wins like every other year. He wins like the best Cabernet in Israel. And this is a guy, you know, he started out garage wine, and now he's making 100,000 bottles a year. And you know, if you guys know the company Kedem, so they import his wine. This one, and actually this one. So this last bottle, it's from a place called Psagot. If you go, so if you guys see the coin, this is a replica of a coin that they found in a cave. So right now the winemaker keeps some of the barrels, not all of them, in that cave. It's actually from the time of the first revolt against the Romans. So you're talking about like the year 70, basically. So this is like our, I guess, more closer Jewish history. It's not so much the Torah, it's more just something that actually we can corroborate archaeologically through this, that it actually happened. By the way, this winemaker, he was born, you know, we're standing here, we're either people who were born in the former Soviet Union or our parents were. This guy was born in Moscow. His parents brought him to Israel when he was like 3 years old. I spoke to him, he speaks fluent Russian, kind of, you know, banter in Russian. Very nice guy. All the people that make this, I mean, they like, these are people who like didn't necessarily grow up in these, it's called, you know, settlements. Some of the people were raised in Tel Aviv, some of the people were just, you know, they came to this area just from outside the country, and they really believe in kind of the spiritual aspect of what they're doing. They believe that this is something that's transcending just making money. Of course, you know, they'll tell you, listen, I want to make money. I don't want to get, you know, gypped. I want to get a good deal. Israelis, of course, but like at the end of the day, like they know that they're actually participating in Jewish history, and they're writing new chapters of the Torah every single day. Like if God willing, Mashiach comes, and we you know, we're told that we're going to have a whole new Torah, or maybe in addition to the Torah we have now, this will be included. Their stories will be included. I hope maybe I'm participating with them. I hope mine will be included. You guys too, you know, people, anybody involved with it.